When it comes to birth control, not all methods are created equal. So let's rank them from least to most effective based on typical use, meaning real life situations where human error happens. Let's start with the 3 least reliable options that have the highest failure rate. First, there is withdrawal or the pull-out method. This has a 22% failure rate, which means out of 100 people using it, 22 will still get pregnant in a year. Timing has to be perfect, and that is tough to control. Number 2 is using spermicide alone. This is even worse than pulling out. 28% of people using spermicide alone get pregnant within a year. It is better when combined with other methods, but on its own, it is not so great. The last in this unreliable category is fertility awareness methods. This includes tracking cycles and avoiding sex on fertile days. There is a 24% failure rate, so it is risky unless you're extremely precise about tracking ovulation. You can use ovulation sticks to track ovulation and avoid sex around those days. But remember, sperm can live for up to 5 days in the body, so it's still possible to get pregnant with this method. Now, let's look at the second category, which are moderately effective methods of birth control. The male condom is very popular, but still about 13% of users experience failure, mostly due to breakage or improper use of the condom. Female condoms can also be used, but these have an even higher failure rate, around 21%. Using a diaphragm with spermicide has a 17% failure rate. This is better than spermicide alone, but still not the most reliable. Now let's look at highly effective birth control methods, which have a low failure rate. Birth control pills, patch, and ring all have about a 7% failure rate. This failure is due to missed doses or inconsistent use. The birth control shot has a 4% failure rate. It is more effective than the pill, but you have to get the shot every 3 months. Now, let's talk about IUDs, which have a very low failure rate. Both hormonal IUDs and the copper IUD have a failure rate of less than 1%. Also, the birth control implant is highly effective. This tiny rod is placed in your arm and has a failure rate below 1%. It also lasts up to 5 years. Finally, there is permanent sterilization like 2-ball ligation and vasectomy. These are nearly foolproof with a failure rate of less than 0.5%. The downside here is that they tend to be permanent.